forecast first. Sponsored by Matex Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing.
All right, well, good evening to you as we take a look at how things are going to be playing out through the rest of tonight. You can see that the satellite radar picture is clear. That has allowed for the temperatures to really fall off significantly here. We're down into the low and mid-20s, 23 in Champaign, but there's even just a slight wind. That's turning the wind chill into the teens. It actually feels like 16 degrees outside in Champaign. Now, as we take a look at the hour by hour through tomorrow, after the chilly start to the morning, we find our way back into those low and mid-40s for highs. Not looking terrible, plenty of sunshine, but we're not seeing any huge warm up here anytime soon. How about any precipitation for the rest of the week? We'll look at that coming up, so stay tuned. WCIA 3 News starts right now.
Now on WCIA 3 News.
One school district is making plans for partial in-person learning, but that has some concerned and upset. Plus, the state is making plans for the first COVID-19 vaccine delivery. Why that's not all good news for healthcare workers.
And it was an 11-hour marathon, all for a good cause. How you helped kids across central Illinois today.
You're watching your local news leader. This is WCIA 3 News at 10.
And I would certainly have been on the side of, I think kids need to be in school because I know that it's the best environment for them if at all possible. I felt that way until about 6 weeks ago.
Emotions ran high as Urbana School District unveiled its recommendations for a return to partial in-person learning during the second semester. Good evening.
I3's Jen Lask has been listening to that meeting tonight. So, Jen, how will the plans work?
Jessica, right now the plan is for a partial return for in-person learning at the pre-K and elementary school levels. Now, as for the middle schools and high schools, they are going to be moving forward largely remote, but they will bring back some students who have struggled with remote learning. One teacher spoke out, though, against returning to in-person learning, saying while he had been in support of the idea in theory before, he's changed his mind after he and his father got COVID-19. The teacher recovered, but his father wasn't as fortunate.
He couldn't breathe and his heart was having problems and needed to be on a ventilator. He went into cardiac arrest and died. I don't share that because I necessarily want sympathy or anything to that effect. But what I want to share is that, it's a very devastating experience.
In Dave Dutton's family's case, a funeral gathering of less than 30 people after that then led to several more positive cases. Now, the school district says it is planning to continue keeping an eye on COVID-19 metrics in the county. If they show a rise in cases, schools will be pivoting back to remote learning immediately. Over the next couple of weeks, here are the next steps. For the pre-K and elementary school students, staff are going to be reaching out to gauge their interest in returning to in-person learning. As for middle and high school students, they're going to be going through the first semester attendance and grades and individual needs to see if those students are the ones who need to come back for some in-person classes. Back to you.
Certainly a lot could change in Urbana there, Jen. Thank you. Now, Champaign School District switched its elementary school students back to remote learning in November. Rantoul also switched to remote in November and is tentatively planning for a return to hybrid learning on January 19th. Mahomet schools have remained in person so far. Danville plans to resume blended learning in January. Decatur and Springfield could add in hybrid learning in January as well.
Here's an update. Saliva-based COVID-19 testing could soon be available to you. Right now, leaders at the U of I are working to get the mobile lab certified. It'll be able to process up to 10,000 tests a day. Champaign and Urbana firefighters have been able to use saliva testing for about a month. They say it's been great to have such quick test results.
I can tell you, I, for one, am a firm believer in it. I think we're so very fortunate to have the U of I here, to have their knowledge, their skills, their infrastructure. We have shown that it's kept our firefighters safe and then in turn, of course, kept our citizens safe.
A U of I chancellor said they expect to have the lab certified in a few weeks, but don't have a timeline for when the testing could start. A panel is advising the CDC to give healthcare workers and nursing home residents vaccines during the first round of available dosing. In Illinois, the number of vaccines anticipated to be sent to the state is changing daily. As of today, Governor Pritzker says the state is looking at enough doses for fewer than 55,000 people.
But our anticipation at the moment is the numbers are small enough so that it won't go beyond those two populations and may not even get to all healthcare workers, at least not in that very first shipment that we receive.
Why is that? Here's the perspective. There are at least 650,000 healthcare workers in Illinois, and long-term care facilities alone serve more than 100,000 residents in the state. The vaccine is not expected to be widely available across the country until the spring.
As for the latest COVID-19 numbers in Illinois, more than 12,500 were announced today. More than 5,800 people were in the hospital as of last night, nearly 1,200 of them in the ICU, and 721 on a ventilator. The positivity rate has stayed steady at 12.2%. 125 more people have died, including 22 in central Illinois. More than 12,400 people have died a COVID-related death. New for you tonight, one business has a special offer this month for frontline workers in the pandemic. Starbucks is giving them a tall brewed coffee, either hot or iced, free of charge. They say they wanted to offer a small gesture of kindness to those who have had a difficult year. This is available for healthcare workers, first responders, and active duty military. We have more information about the offer on WCIA.com.
Christie Clinic says a former doctor shared trade secrets. That's from a lawsuit filed in federal court this week. The healthcare provider says a former dermatologist violated his employment agreement. Jeremy Yaus worked for Christie until July. He left to start his own dermatology service, Vital Skin. They're calling the move a breach of contract. Vital Skin's CEO told us today they're aware of the suit. They believe it doesn't have any merit, and it won't affect a planned opening of a location in Mattoon on Monday. Sangamon County coroner identified the 13-year-old girl who died after being pulled from a house fire on Sunday. Janaria Scott died at St. John's Hospital. Her autopsy is tomorrow morning. A 7-year-old was also taken to St. John's Hospital in Springfield after the fire. There's no update on that child's condition.
A family in Danville is safe, but without a home after it caught fire. It happened near the corner of Elizabeth Street and Bryan Avenue just before 2 this morning. The fire chief says heavy smoke was coming from both sides of the house when crews got there. 2 adults and a child made it outside safely, along with their pets.
They were out at the residence at the time we got there. Their smoke detectors alerted them and woke them up. The gentleman had made entry back into the house to get his dogs, and then he exited with the dogs as well.
The American Red Cross is helping the family, and crews are still trying to figure out how that fire started. No one was seriously hurt after one semi rear-ended another on I-74 in Vermilion County this afternoon. This happened near Danville, shutting down the eastbound lanes entirely for a few hours. The left lane is back open. This photo was sent to us by Carnegie Towing and Repair. State police say that semi had pulled over to the right shoulder, and people were putting down warning triangles. That's when another semi veered off of the road and rear-ended it, spilling potatoes all over the interstate. That driver was ticketed for not using the correct lane.
The Champaign County Sheriff's Office received a special gift today from the family of a deceased deputy. Deputy Taylor Briggs died unexpectedly earlier this year from an unknown medical condition. His family delivered a care package to the office today as a thank you. They say Deputy Briggs loved his work. He loved to talk about that and the canines. The dogs, they weren't left out. They also received some treats. The Sheriff's Office says it's thankful for the thoughtful and generous gift.
And we are also thankful for your generosity, what you were able to help do today.
Plus, they won their elections. Now they're officially on duty.
And we all probably know one person that goes above and beyond with holiday decorating, and soon you'll know another.